It's the middle of February and we're just coming towards the end of the boat show season. Something that my friend and co-journalist here, Mark Jardine, knows very well. We've been to quite a few boat shows over the years, and we've certainly been to quite a few in the last few months. But one of the most important shows of the season, at least for us, is the Marine Equipment Trade Show. There are always all kinds of announcements by clothing manufacturers, and again, we've been to quite a few of those. It has to be said that they're not always the most exciting or revealing things. Not always do the products stand up to the hype. It's also true that in recent years, the clothing manufacturers seem to have lost their way a bit. And in fact, I'd say Henri Lloyd are probably a little bit guilty of that too. But when we went to see them, they seemed to have something else to say, didn't they?
It was interesting. They launched a new collection, but it very much felt like they were drawing on all of the heritage over that past 60 years, but using modern technologies.
Yeah, so we thought, why don't we come down and see it in a bit more detail? They said, come and do it. So here we are in Lymington at their store. And we're going to get the lowdown on the latest range.
How are you?
Oh, good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you again.
See you, Matt.
Hi, Ross. Yeah, good to see you.
Come on in.
Thank you.
I thought we'd start with Elite. Now, you might have heard that name from us before, and you'd be right, you have. But we have completely redesigned Elite for 2024. It's feature-packed, as you would hope from an offshore jacket, and be mindful that it does come in a dry top, a high fit, all in black as well, and in a male.
Now, whilst Mark is getting the detail on the new collection, I thought I'd find out a bit more about what lies behind the big changes at Henri Lloyd. And to do that, I thought I'd call up Knut Frostad. Yeah, the guy from the Volvo Ocean Race and Navico. I was surprised too. Knut, great to see you. We thought we'd have a quick chat with you because obviously there's been a lot going on at Henri Lloyd, which I want to talk about the background of that in a minute. But just quickly, how come you're here now?
For me, Henri Lloyd is a brand I grew up with. I aspired to, my hero when I started, Laurie Smith, was an ambassador. You know, I kind of grew up with that brand, leading the offshore sailing world. And now I have a chance to bring it back to the market together with a fantastic team, and it's sailing 3.0 for me. So great to be back, and I'm now going to be full-time involved as well, which is fairly recent, and that's something I'm truly looking forward to.
Now, tell me a bit about the background to what's been going on at Henri Lloyd, because over the last few years, there's been quite a lot of things that have changed and maybe people aren't aware of. So just fill us in on that.
Well, long story short is that Monte Rosa Sport, which is the group I'm part of, is a new group, sports brand group, that is really driven by investors who are super passionate about sport, mainly outdoors and sailing. That's the two things we do. And the same group has been involved with Helly Hansen before. We've been involved with Navico, and now we're doing it ourselves. And this is really our baby. And we acquired a brand very recently, 2 years ago, less than 2 years ago, and really sort of have very exciting, ambitious plans for the brand, bringing it back to the market. But we're also going back to its roots, which is really the offshore sailing world, where there's no tougher testing place for sailing apparel. That's where, you know, if you can work there, you can work everywhere. And then we're going to obviously make that applicable for everyone who sails in their clubs locally, and to have great sailing gear that they really love wearing. And it's very exciting.
Sailing has changed beyond recognition, some would argue, particularly offshore sailing. How applicable? I mean, you say you want to go back to its roots, but how applicable is it?
Well, back to the roots. If I look at Henri Lloyd was really a big innovator in this space. So good old Henry, who drove the brand. He was the first to really get tape seams working, and he was constantly innovating the product. So back to its root doesn't mean making old gear. It means being back to that, being the innovator in the space, in the industry, who comes up with the right gear for the right time, and also the new innovations that's going to drive us forward. Still, despite the fact that we are foiling and flying and all these things today, it's still raining and it's still bad weather. We still love bad weather when we're sailors, if not, you'll never become one. Whether you are being rained on and sprayed on a flying boat or a keel boat or a dinghy or a heavy old wooden boat, a lot of the needs are the same. And they haven't changed that much, but technology have changed, materials have changed, the fitness have changed, more women are in the sport of sailing. All of that is different than it was in the old days, very different today, and that's also exciting.
Now, you mentioned that the Monte Rosa group is an important part of this, it's an important part of this new story, but it also includes other brands. And I just wonder how important that is. Can you draw from the experience of some of the other companies in the group?
Yes. No, so in the Monte Rosa group, we have two other brands. We have Odlo, which is a Swiss-Norwegian brand. They are rock stars at base layers. So everything you wear on your skin, they're absolutely the best in the market. And then we have Janus, which also do base layers, but wool. They have everything about wool. They're the wool specialist in the group. And we have already started drawing on their expertise to make a great new collection of base layers for Henri Lloyd. I think the base layers we have developed with Odlo are going to be amazing.
Fantastic. Well, thanks very much. Thanks for taking the time to just fill us in on that. I'll let you get back to running the company.
Thank you so much, Dan. Cheers. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Meanwhile, Mark was being shown what this meant for the new collection. And it was the detail that caught his eye, where the Elite range was a good example of how the company is combining their long experience with modern techniques and technology.
You can see it's taped all the way through, and we are more generous than most with our taping and ensuring there is a huge amount of crossover per tape cut as well. That's where the value in a product really comes through. We've then got a full fleece protection, but it's perforated to improve airflow, but also, more importantly, drying time. This is designed to get hosed, and if it does get hosed, you need it to dry quickly. That's why it's also not lined with mesh. It's a true offshore shell. Your warmth and insulation comes from your base and your mid layers. Therefore, this needs to be unlined from a weight perspective and also from a drying perspective. Because if the worst happens and you're in a squall and you're completely soaked, this will dry quickly as well.
Hence the layering, not one big thick thing.
Hence the layering. Another great feature is each pocket outline has a reflective detail on its taping. This is one of my favourite features that the design team have put into this product. We discussed a lot about how to finish edges on product, and in low light situations, you can then easily access each pocket because you can see it. You're not guessing, particularly on a black product in a night sky as well. So, Elite High Fit. Our design team have actually taken inspiration, believe it or not, from rucksacks and backpacks. You'll notice the padding and comfort here in the high fit straps are, in my mind, better than most, and also have a huge amount of elasticity, because that's where the weight will be carried on your shoulders. And so a perforated material increases airflow, but also there's a thickness to it, so there is comfort on the top of your shoulders. Since we've been producing offshore kit out of our factory in Poland, our Elite range has gone through over 1 million miles of testing over the last 25 years. And so it's these evolutional changes that we put into the product, as well as recutting seams for better articulation and, again, increasing that comfort for the user at the end of the day if they're in it for hours and hours at a time. This kit's designed to be worn 2 weeks at a time, non-stop if need be. And so reinforcement points are absolutely key. That's why not just the heel of the high fit end, but the complete circumference of the bottom of the high fit is covered with an oversized cordura reinforcement point. So as you're crawling, scraping around on deck and just getting in and out of boots and everything, you've got longevity in the product because it's not going to wear quickly when that is the point closest to the ground. So the Biscay jacket, a competent coastal and offshore piece in a male and female cut. We've kept the collar height generous, so it still sits up around the back of your head and just underneath your ears. So when you're in it, you do feel completely enclosed and protected. We've split the Velcro for quick entry, and you'll notice even on the inside of the double storm flap, we've added a drainage channel.
This looks like a real multi-purpose jacket.
The sail jacket, we've redesigned this to do what it used to do as well. A complete 365 days of the year jacket. If you're a powerboater, yachtsman, it's a tape-seamed 2-layer waterproof, windproof jacket with a mesh and taffeta lining. So a really good AquaGuard zip along the chest and in the pockets, therefore reducing the need for a storm flap, therefore opening the jacket up and allowing it to be used in multiple areas.
I can't help noticing as I get older, I do get a little bit of a belly, but I went and looked in the mirror in this, I thought...
That is a belly-reducing jacket.
I feel a bit better now.
The Breeze, mid-height collar, mesh and taffeta lined, waterproof, windproof fabric, but the key thing is we have taped the seams on these jackets as well. So our entire range is waterproof and windproof from what is our deck jacket. And not only do I see this as a deck jacket, but it's your everyday jacket as well. It's your boat to bar jacket, maybe to bed jacket as well, who knows? But I just think the Breeze range was a winner for decades in the past. Then using today's fabrics, which are PFC free as well. So we're ahead of legislation there. We've got a highly competent layering piece.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
They've got a lot going on, that's for sure. Well, we've got to go and try it, haven't we? That's the thing.
We've got to go for a sail.
Yeah, well, no problem with that. But I tell you what about, you've got loads of Henri Lloyd kit, and I've got shed loads of it as well. Why don't we use that as the datum for this kit? Because they're talking about this representing the values of the old kit. If we just take our kit down there and show them that, and then test it against that.
You're on. Let's go.
Let's do it. My car's full of the stuff.
I've got a whole load in the garage.